How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Muv-Luv Monday. Hey, Democracy Week is over. We got some really fun stuff going on. Hey, actually, I'll just go over those winners real fast, just in case you somehow missed it. Alright, so we've got the winners of like what's going to be happening this year. Now keep in mind, these are going to be coming up as applicable. So for instance, what won on Monday is not likely to be coming out until we finish Muv-Luv, so it could be a while. Whereas things like Tuesdays, I'm getting close to finishing the Pokemon Nuzlocke, so we'll probably be getting that started in the next month. You know, like we're getting really close to that. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, so hope you guys are enjoying yourselves and looking forward to some of the changes. So we're going to be having on Mondays, after we finish Muv-Luv, we'll be starting the Higurashi and Umineko series, so like, boy. Whether I have a break between those two, we'll see, but definitely going to be starting that chain of stories, so buckle up for that. Tuesdays, we're going to be going over... Oh wait, did I not write that one down? It was Imposter Factory that won, so we'll be doing Imposter Factory, which is kind of like one of the sequels to the Moon, so it'd be a really, really fun one to do there. We're also doing Rewrite Plus on Wednesdays after we finish the House of Fata Morgana Requiem for Innocence. And then on Thursdays, after I finish Persona 5 Royal, we'll be starting the Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. So that would be really good. So thank you so much for those of you who helped us with the voting and picking stuff out. If those titles sound interesting to you, make sure to stick around and keep an eye out for it. But anyway, let's jump back into the series. So in Muv-Luv, we are heading to the hotel, it seems like, which is kind of where they're housing all the, at least this, maybe the first flight of the Japanese TSF pilots or whatever. It's just like, it's an old motel that's near the military base. So this is we're going to be kind of seeing where our rooms are and getting kind of all settled in. And then I imagine we'll be starting our actual duties. So let's see how that goes. But there's not much else to say other than like, you know, humanity's effectively like killed itself. It's like we decided to shoot ourselves through the chest to try and kill the bad guys, you know, to get the beta. It's like, cool, we got them. And then we didn't even actually get them because there's still a lot of beta out there, so hooray. Alright, so let's jump into it and see how we go. Alright, place seems pretty crowded, but looks like there's still some open seats. I'm not sure exactly where we are in here. Where's Yuzuka and the others? There they are. I don't know why it like clicked over that, but okay. Look at that, they're almost done eating, and I'm only 5 minutes late. Well, surface pilots often make a habit of bolting down their food. Not like this stuff is worth savoring anyway.
お疲れ様です、響。結構早かったですね。
ああ、まあね。一応誤解のないように言っとくけど。悪巧みの話をしてたわけじゃねえぞ。
That goes to clarify. I was like, okay, my friend's an idiot. Like, I'm an idiot, but he's even more of an idiot. But we only talked about normal stuff. Don't need to freak out.
あら、まだ何も聞いてませんけど。
Dang it.
はいはい。ところで早速だけど、少佐の言ってた任務について教えてくれないか。詳しく聞いとけってやつ。
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that too.
はいはい、そりゃ私が説明します。A 氏が行っている通常任務以外についてですね。まずですね、咀嚼地の警戒任務。簡単に言うと、市街地のパトロールがあります。
Okay, so like, guard duty. She explained that one. We're supposed to play cops now?
私も先ほど聞いて驚いたんですけど、咀嚼地の警察権を持っている MP が人手不足のため、警覧任務の手伝いを非番 A 氏が行っていると。
So essentially, there's no such thing as being off duty anymore.
おいおい、本当かよ。
That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
本当ですよ。それと、軍関連施設の警護とか、整備の手伝いもやってますよ。
Dang, really? Maintenance too?
その中でも最大最悪の任務が前線紹介任務だったということです。
Right, we already talked about that one.
ちょっと大きな声では言えませんが、ラッキーだったというところですかね。
あの任務は相当嫌みたいだな。
そりゃあもう、物資削減のために A 氏を半冬眠状態にして待機させるなんて、思いついたやつを八つ咲きにしてやりたいくらい。
Oh my gosh.
なるほど。じゃあそれについてはありがたく免除させてもらってたな。その分他を頑張ろうぜと。で、 市街地のパトロールって何やるんだ？回ってりゃいいだけなのか？
I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward, but like, do they get time off? Like, that's pretty important for morale.
警察権がありますから、普通の警察と同じですよ。正直な話、やりたくない任務の第2位です。
Right.
どうしてだ？
Ellen's pretty bright, so I'm sure she's got as a good reason for feeling this way. Better take notes here. Uh-oh.
咀嚼地。日本人居住区の治安は悪化しつつあります。
Oh boy.
ああ。
Yeah, I imagine that's tied a lot to morale and feelings of helplessness, and you know what, I would be shocked if starvation isn't a factor at this point. Yeah, that's what happens when a country's going to crap. Things are only bound to get worse.
特に配給所周辺では揉め事は絶えません。食料生産の行き詰まりから配給に問題が発生しているので。
Yeah, hunger is gonna be like hunger will kill any cohesion a nation has faster than anything.
ゆずちゃん、どうしたの？なんでもないわ。
I'm guessing we saw a lot of examples of people turning into animals. You sure don't look like it's nothing.
民間人に向けて軍人が、時には威圧による仲裁を行ったり。
Oh man, there's a topic. Like, when is force necessary? Because the problem is, it is necessary sometimes. But then you see like videos of civilians being, you know, treated by police and riot police and even the army, and it's like, it looks horrible, and it is horrible. And like, it's such an odd line to walk, because you want to say like, oh, it's always bad, you know, when a police force has to enable violence. But then if you're on the side of like trying to keep order, if you're trying to keep as many people alive as possible, and part of keeping them alive is rationing food to the barest of minimums, forcing people to work, making sure that everyone stays on a curfew, restricting freedoms essentially, like, people are gonna balk at that, especially modern day. Like, in this time, people probably are a lot more tolerant of it, which just shows you how bad it's gotten. But even then, like, people are people. They have a dignity, an inherent dignity and, like, level of, like, self-determination. Like, the survival instincts eventually start kicking in. So, like, is it really right to use force to put down desperate people? Like, you desperately want things to be different, you want things to be better. But sometimes you can't let things get better without that force, because anarchy would lead to far more destruction than than trying to resolve things. But then, like, that's the perspective of people who are in power, right? It's easy to say, like, oh no, we want to make sure we keep things the way they are, we got to make sure we maintain control. But then what if you've gotten corrupt? What if you're part of a system that's broken? What if you're part of an oppressing force that's going above and beyond what should be allowed? But then you have the other argument to that too, is like, what if you quickly find out that the perspectives of the people who can't see the whole picture and who are desperate rise up, try and overthrow you, and then they find themselves in the exact same position, but now they don't have any regulations, they don't have any, like, checks and balances, they don't have any, like, guidance or experience, and then things spiral. It's rough because there's no good answers here. And so I can't imagine, like, let alone, like, you're a surface pilot, your whole, like, you going into fights, and, like, or as a soldier even, you going to battle knowing that you could die at any second, right? The main motivation of you doing so is to protect people. And then you're being given a gun and told to patrol around desperate people and to shoot at them if they get out of hand. That's so counterintuitive. Because unless you have become so hardened by combat that you no longer have any, like, real, like, empathy, that's gonna mess you up. And yet it's something that might need to be done. And that's what's horrible about it.
まさか小銃向けて威圧してんのか?
That crap's serious. I know we ain't a democracy anymore, but come on.
さすがにそこまではまだ。本当に銃を向けたりしたら大変なことになっちゃいますから。
So we're not there yet, but we've had to get close.
だよな。
That's a load off my mind, or at least I wish it could feel that way. But the more I listen to Ellen talk, the more it seems like it's only a matter of time.
民間人に銃を向ける時が来ないよう願うしかないという状況。 根本は食料問題だから簡単には解決できない。
I talked about this before too. It's like, can they even solve this? Like, how are they supposed to grow anything? Like, it sounds like they're relegated effectively to greenhouses, places that just happen to have like workable soil. Even if we dug through the salt, on the salt flats, would we be able to find good soil back down there? Or if the worst case scenario, if bacteria have actually started to mass extinction underneath the ground and we can't replenish them, that would stop the entire food chain. Like, it already might be stopped, frankly. How on earth are we supposed to do this? Like, biologically, like, I'm talking like pure, like, numbers of just farmable cropland. I mean, a great way to kind of like see this issue would be to read The Martian. Really great fictional story about the man stuck on Mars, where he has like to hydrate and fertilize Martian soil in order to make a farm that can give him food that might help him last long enough to get rescued. And he goes over the science of how troublesome it is for one person and how much acreage, farmland, and food one person needs to survive. And in a planet like Mars that's isolated, desolate, and has no way of providing its own resources, it made it nearly impossible, and certainly not like not something you could keep in perpetuity. Like, it was super temporary at best. Now the whole planet, Earth, is effectively mostly turned into Mars. It's inhospitable. We don't know if anything is even surviving out there. Like, what about, like, are fish even alive in the oceans anymore? Like, if they are, I don't know how much longer they've got. There's certainly not going to be very much vegetation anywhere. And even if there is, it's not anywhere close to here. It's a nightmare. It's literally, I don't know if there's a solution to this. My cat's freaking out in the background. Apparently he's upset about this too. I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, anyway. It's really a trouble. Like, I want to believe that there's a way that they can get through this, but the more we get into the story, the more I feel like even this, it's just temporary. It's just holding out, but that inevitably it comes crashing down, and that there's nothing that can be done. It's entirely out of our hands.
食料問題か。
Surface pilots are supposed to live on a diet of high-calorie rations, yet even we are stuck eating this crap. I don't want to imagine how crappy the food regular citizens must be. Yeah, that's the thing. These guys are getting the best because they have to be in peak performance, right? And if their best is crappy, I mean, I don't know.
でも日本人って本当に我慢強いわね。私の国やアメリカだったらとっくの昔に大暴動になってるわ。
Yeah.
外人の私から見るとすごく不思議。なんであの状態で他人を優先させてあげることができるのかしら。
It is impressive. I've talked about this before, so I won't say too much about it. Japanese culture, being about the community, has a lot of very powerful and amazing things. It has some downsides, especially where the needs of individuals often are sacrificed on the pyre for the greater good. But especially in crises, it is so admirable.
それが日本人の国民性だよ。
ええ、そこに疑問の余地はないわ。それは私たちの誇りよ。
良くも悪くもな。
Right. Yuzuka is convinced there's nothing but positives in our willingness to prioritize the group over the individual. Me, I'd rather not have an argument if I can help it.
なるほどね。私も広い意味ではその精神に救われたとも言えるし。
Right.
批判し
ああ、わかってる。
ところで、資源不足といえば、演習や訓練はどうしてるのかしら。削減されているのかしら。
They might not be able to have any training at all. Like, they might only have resources to train new pilots because, like, the resources are so small, including, like, fuel. My gosh.
はい、実機訓練は推進剤の供給がギリギリのため、ほとんど行ってないです。
Oh my
私も
gosh.
訓練兵時代には数回だけしか。
Can you imagine finding out that your pilot who's, like, flying you across the country recently got hired, and before they got hired, they'd only flown in an airplane a few hours. Like, they've done simulators, sure, but actual flight time, just a few hours. And a TSF is way more dangerous, and in far more dangerous situations than an airplane. Yeah. So, I guess I'm just gonna be depressed tonight.
シミュレーターも台数が少ないので、順番はなかなか回ってきません。アメリカ軍からレンタルするって噂は聞いたことありますけど、実際には。
I'm sure they need them too.
参ったな。
Yeah. Can't train with a real TSF, can't even use a simulator. Unit coordination's and bread and butter. There ain't no way you can improve that area without actual teamwork drills. There's zero chance our cadets are going to be combat ready by the time they graduate.
ですから、机上演習や映像学習がメインで、あとは基礎体力を維持する通常のトレーニングですね。
Right.
そして、空いた時間は市内のパトロール。ってね。厳しい状態ね。
でもまあ、そうは言っても仕方ないですよね。ないものはないんですし。
Right. There's nothing we can do about it, she says. Just drop it and go with the flow? I'm sure I like the sound of that.
その状態で新米を戦場に送り出してるっていうのか。とにかく訓練通りにやれ。簡単な仕事だ。仙道少尉がケツを守ってくれる。絶対に諦めるな。それで生き残れるさ。
We can't pretend things are just gonna work out somehow. Not when we're sending them out there like lambs to the slaughter. Crap, it just hit me. Shizuhara didn't die because we were one man short or because of that stupid formation. She died because I neglected to make sure she was ready for actual combat. I should have noticed this sooner, but in my anger I blamed everyone but myself. That's why I pinned this entire thing on the upper brass. Perfect way to avoid facing the music.
誤解しないで響。新人には優先的にシミュレーターを使用させてるわ。
そうですよ。兵士訓練校にだって専用のシミュレーターはあるんですから。
Right. Still.
シミュレーター不足を解消するために徴兵年齢を下げて対応もしてますし。
Oh, Ray! Kids even younger are now getting into the military.
年齢の引き下げ？今、徴兵はいくつからなんだ？
Oh, man.
10歳です。
Oh my gosh. Holy fetch, man. 10 years old. 10 years old. We're sending literal kids to the battlefield. Are you shitting me?
正確に言うと、10歳から予備訓練生として登録されて、学校の授業のほとんどが軍事教練になります。合宿なんかも多くなるんですよ。
We're gonna evaporate our scientists and our educators, our engineers, our civil servants, everybody. We're becoming so militarized. Are we gonna even know in like a generation how to do anything but fight? If we kept this up for more than a couple decades, even if we were to eradicate all the beta, what is an entire culture where everything they've ever been taught has only been about fighting? What else are they gonna end up doing? Like afterwards, right? Like, are they really just gonna be able to put things down and move on? Or are they going to solve problems the only way they know how?
そんなの教育じゃねえだろ。
でも確かにちょっと早いかもしれないですけど、そのおかげでシミュレーター利用回数が増えてますし。
俺が気にしてるのはそこじゃねえよ。どんな理由をつけようとも子供は子供じゃねえか。
10 years old. I didn't even know how to play Pokemon when I was 10. Like, I collected the stupid cards, but I never know how to play the game. I couldn't even comprehend that. Can you imagine going to military school?
こっちはガキどもを戦場に送らせないために戦争やってるんだぞ。それは意味ねえじゃねえかよ。
響。声が大きい。みんないるのよ。
すまん。
適性のある大人はすべて徴兵済みだから。
We don't. Yeah, our work pool's gone. That's the other thing. It's like Like, what else can we do? We can't, but gosh darn it.
だから次は子供ってことか。
This is so effed up.
それが現実ですから。だったらシミュレーター回数が増える方がありがたいです。その分上手くなれますから。子供を戦場に送り出すことは当たり前だとは思いたくありません。でも目を背けることもできないです。
How can you be so happy about this, though? Yeah. That's the same argument this one dude was making back at Kashi. Forgot for a second that Miyono is the product of a similar training program. There's nothing I can say to someone who's actually had skin in the game.
今は主に孤児を対象に英士候補を拾い集めてるんです。若い方が適応力もあるので、その方がいいみたいですよ。
だけど成長期前のやつだっているはずだ。体だってまだできてないだろうに。
No way around it. Drafting pubescent kids is a terrible idea. At that age, even a single year makes a huge difference. And even if you ignore the physical side of things, 10-year-olds ain't old enough to tell right from wrong. Screw this up, and all those snot-nosed brats might easily grow up to become nothing more than cold-hearted war machines. Beggars can't be choosers, but after hearing that, not even teenagers. Man, the ethical implications are just too heavy.
私なんかは英士訓練課程を修了してからシアトルに着いたので、楽といえば楽だったんですけどね。
But it's no use arguing. Miyono simply doesn't consider herself a victim. Ain't my place to tell her what's the right way to interpret her experiences.
こっちに来てからの子たちは実機にもなかなか触れないので苦労しているって先生が言ってました。
Sensei? Sensei? Who's she talking about?
孤児収容施設の先生です。被災孤児特別措置法で作られた施設の私も施設の出身なので。
Okay.
そうか、すまなかったな。
両親が亡くなってからはいろんな土地を転々としたので他の場所には思い入れないんですけど。
Right. Since her parents died, huh?
いえいえ、気にしないでください。先生いい人ですし施設は楽しかったですから。
そうそう。孤児収容施設の慰問なんて任務もあるんですよ。
Oh, that sounds cool.
そんな任務もあるのか。
楽しいですよ。賑やかですし、みんな喜んでくれますから。
That sounds like it's a good breath of fresh air.
実は結構憎ったらしい子もいるんだけど、雫にしてみれば里帰りみたいなもんだしね。
Dang.
そうなんですよ。
なるほど。と言いたいとこだけど、英士なんかが一体何するんだ？
施設は普段から訓練だけでなく生産任務なんかも行ってますので、戦術機に乗って戦う英士って憧れの存在なんです。
Right.
子供にしてみれば雫もヒーローだもんね。
少し恥ずかしいですけど、私お姉さんですから。
生産任務ってなんだ？
はい、生産任務は平たく言うと農作業です。畑を耕したり除塩作業の手伝いをしたりすることですね。
Okay.
あと工場に勤労奉仕に行く子もいます。
Desalinization. So saline is salt, specifically in water. Desalinization must be like moving water across the salt flats to try and clear the salt and maybe get at the earth underneath. And then there's farming. So okay, maybe there is workable soil out under the salt after all. It's got to be such a process, but if it works, then there is long-term hope, potentially. But man, I don't know if the population is going to be able to cope with the grind of producing like enough fertile soil. And then factories, of course.
そっか、みんな働いてんだな。
そう。日本の子供って可愛いわよ。みんな素直で。なあにゆずか、意外そうな顔してくれちゃって。
いえ、そんなこと考えてない。
傷ついちゃったな。
ごめんなさい。
ねえねえ響、私ね、そういうわけで子供が好きなのよ。
Yeah.
おう、それはいいことだと思うぞ。
You don't have to worry about secondary ulterior motives with kids.
響は？
まあ嫌いじゃないな。
あらよかった。
何がだ？
他人の子でもあんなに可愛いんだもの。きっと自分の子だったらもっと可愛いわよね。
That's true.
エレンちゃん子供欲しいの？
さあ、そういえば東洋人と西洋人のハーフってポテンシャル高いみたいね。
Oh my gosh. Well, she ain't wrong. Like, what did she say exactly? Aren't half Asian babies just the cutest little things? Is that? I'm sure, I guess. I don't know. I think all babies are really cute. I get to see a baby that's like, like, no. One of my classmates in elementary school, Michael Okada, dude was always swarmed by girls. We're talking some real tank class crap going on there. Yeah, the Yuzuka sees like the snipe at Hibiki here.
どうしたの？ゆずか。
Uh-huh.
なんでもありません。
Uh-huh.
でもいいな、そういう任務も。東海岸にいた頃は戦争ばっかりやってたからな。
Mm-hmm.
立浪注意、質問していいですか？向こうで帝国への合流はできなかったんですか？
Oh boy.
しずくちゃん、それは。
ああ、いいって、俺から話すよ。知ったの通り、俺と仙道少尉は欧州派遣部隊でな。向こうではアメリカ軍と行動を共にしてたんだ。それで大解放後は日本と完全に連絡が取れなくなったんでね。日米同盟の規約にのっとりアメリカ軍に吸収されてたんだよ。
Right.
それからアメリカとフランス・カナダ連合の戦争が始まって、対人類戦闘ばかりだったからな。正直気がめいったよ。なんで人間同士で戦争なんかしてんだよって。そんな場合じゃないだろって。
Like, it's like the gun that blast that we used to like literally worse than nuke our own planet hadn't even finished smoking and people just started gunning at each other. Just didn't even wait.
バビロン災害直後のフランスが必死だったのはわかるけど、アメリカ軍とフランス軍があそこまでこじれたのは正直な話、今でもよくわからない。
Yeah.
と悪い、無神経だった。
Okay, we didn't fight the French only. We fought against the Canadians too.
気にしないでください。私も戦争に反対だったからこそ亡命したんですから。
Ellen also must have gone through some serious stuff. Doesn't mean I'm gonna stop keeping an eye on her, but I get the impression her heart's in the right place. Yeah, I've known her for less than a week, but we're hitting it off pretty well. No one wants to believe our friend's gonna stab me in the back. But it's my duty as a commander to make sure she stays on the straight and narrow. Keeping tabs on your subordinates is a crappy part of the job, but someone has to do it.
すまない。さて、食事も終わったようだし、そろそろ解散するか。
この後、お部屋でゆっくりお話ししますか？
Oh no. Yep, Yuzuka, come on. You gotta just start making moves, girl. Yeah, I know, right? Shizuku's like, what are you talking about?
ああ、悪い。まだいろいろと書類作成が残ってるんだよ。夜でもいいか？
もっとダメです。ダメに決まってるでしょ。
Yeah. That's a decent screenshot.
なんだよ。
ゆずかも大変ね。
I know, right? Poor Yuzuka.
立浪注意、仙道です。よろしいでしょうか？
Absolutely. Yuzuka, what's she doing at this hour?
ああ、空いてるぞ。
ごめんなさい。 こんな時間に。
こんな時間ってほどまだ遅くはねえだろう。日が暮れんのが早いからそう感じるんだな。さすがは高緯度か。
そうね。別に何か用事ってわけじゃなかったんだけど。
Yeah.
そっか。まあ入れよ。
まだ何か仕事中でした？
いや、まあもう終わるところだからさ。
それは。
ああ、鈴原関連の書類の後処理だ。
It's just not getting any better.
鈴原少尉の。
ほら、遺書に部隊長として状況報告やお悔やみの言葉を遺族宛てにつけるだろ。あれをな。
それは。でも確か鈴原少尉って。
Orphan.
そうだ。あいつも孤児だ。
Same as Miono.
バビロン前からだから大解放による行方不明ってやつでもなくてさ。
Countless people lost their loved ones in the wake of the Babylon disaster, but even before tragedy struck, millions had already died back in Japan.
どちらが幸せなんでしょうね。過酷な世界に一人で放り出されるのと、死んだと諦めることもできずに希望と未練の間で苦しみ続けるのと、どちらが。
Yeah, crappy choice there, but honestly, if I had to pick, I'd pick the first. Limbo is the worst for me. I hate that feeling of not knowing what's about to happen, or just living with the unknown. Even if it's the worst news you could imagine, I'd rather just have it. Because then I can process it and move forward. But in that limbo, I just spin my wheels.
ああ、どっちが幸せなのか俺にはわかんねえけどよ。
Most of the people who died during the Great Ocean Collapse are swallowed by the sea, or not getting bodies back, ever. If there's no body to be found, the administration's official stance is that the person in question must be considered missing. Millions of deaths will never be acknowledged, and the bereaved can only carry on in endless despair without any hope of closure. Much like me and Yuzuka, as long as we can't leave the past behind.
事務局行ったんだろ。
Oh boy.
どうだった？
There's no need to spell it out. Yuzuka went to the admin office to check the list of survivals in Seattle. Maybe she took a look at Hawaii's data while she was at it. It's the logical thing to do. Me and Yuzuka were stuck in the Atlantic Ocean when all hell broke loose. We had no way of knowing if our families evacuated from Japan safely. Assuming they're alive, they should be aware of our status. We didn't arrive in Seattle till recently, but information about our deployment should be written down in our record. And so far, no one's tried to get in touch with us. Maybe our families tried to contact us while we were deployed. It's not that far-fetched. Service pilots get preferential treatment. But would that even be possible? The military is struggling with communications even today. Did they have the leeway to send civilian messages to the Atlantic Front, an actual battlefield, when things were even worse? So maybe there's actually a good reason we haven't heard a peep from them. Maybe. Yeah, right. I'm only trying to deceive myself. I just can't let go.
ごめんなさい。注意の分も確認したんですが、後でちゃんと。
いや、いいんだよ。わかるって。俺の方こそ。
For the first time, Yuzuka's bringing this up, so I shouldn't be surprised. As they say, though, seeing is believing. I won't be convinced until I check for myself. Man, this is getting too uncomfortable for my tastes.
まだ決まったわけじゃないから。
Right.
わかってる。ああ、俺たちの軍籍、問題なかったか？
はい。注意の分も確認しました。ちゃんと MIA からシアトル配属に書き換わってた。
Right.
だから。
Meaning someone could have contacted me at any time. Yeah, pathetic, I know. Still, I want to cling to what little hope I have left. I'm hoping there's someone who knew about our folks and made it through this disaster, and I want to meet them so I can find out exactly what happened. It's funny. We surface pilots are lauded as heroes, but in the end, we ain't any different from any of the other refugees out there. Wavering between hope and despair makes you wonder if giving up wouldn't be the better option. But compared to Suzuhara, we're the lucky ones.
さ、普通はさ、誰だってそんな行方不明の家族に向かって遺書を書いちまうだろう。
Right.
生きてるか死んでるかなんて関係ない。ただ自分の身に何かあった時にって。
It counts, though.
実質的な意味なんてない。ただ書く者の心の安定のためにやってるようなもんだ。
I mean, in comfortable society, it's a function of like legality, but in this world, it's mostly just knowing that you'll have a final say if something goes wrong.
でもな、鈴原の遺書には宛先すらなかったんだ。
Whatever reason she had to write her will, peace of mind wasn't one of them. It was simply a piece of paper, a formality she took care of before the sortie.
バビロン前からの孤児だってさ、例えば孤児院とか世話になったやつとか、遺書を送りつける先は誰だってあるもんだろう。だから俺が確認したんだけどさ。
Yeah.
中身もほとんど書いてなかったんだ。宿舎に残したものは好きに使ってくれってぐらいでさ。
That's so tragic.
どうして
That is so tragic.
わかんねえよ。今となっちゃ。
Maybe this was her way of telling us she was all alone in the world, so it's okay to forget all about her when she dies. I know, I agree, Suzuka. Or maybe she was lonely and depressed, too stubborn to seek help. I'd go a long way toward accounting for the contents of her last will. I don't know the first thing about Suzuhara. I spent the last few hours of her life together with her, and that's it. Doesn't feel right that I'm the one who has to write her notification of death. I want to believe somebody who was acquainted with Suzuhara, someone who actually cared about her, might come pick it up. It ain't possible, technically speaking, but I have a hunch her notification of death won't see the light of day ever again. I'll do her papers. The IJMDF will update the records, file it away, until Suzuhara becomes a number, nothing more than another entry in the books.
覚えておいてやろうぜ。俺たちだけは。
I wish I could have gotten to know Lieutenant Suzuhara better.
そういや、ユズカ、何の用だったんだ？
実は散歩にでもお誘いしようかと思って。
散歩？
ええ。実は楠本軍曹に聞いたんですけど、向こうの宿舎裏に高台があって、眺めがいいらしいんです。
Sounds good. Sounds good. Huh, I had no idea. I hadn't even started to explore the area around my own dorm.
気晴らしにと思ったんですけど。違いますね。注意を出しにしてるだけですね。本当は私が今日は。
Is she about to like actually say something like meaningful here?
いいぜ、行こうぜ。
注意。
俺だって歓迎だよ、こんな日は。行こう。
はい。
It's so quiet around here. The thundering roar of the cannons is conspicuous by its absence, and the city's too far away for us to hear any of the hustle and bustle. Only the moon and the distant streetlights of Seattle illuminate the small trail on the summit.
どうしました？注意。
Look at this, there's trees, there's actual plants here. This is awesome. There's hope.
いや、こうして戦場でもない場所を二人で歩くのはどれぐらいぶりだろうかって思ってな。
そうですね。
Mindlessly walking forward with no destination in sight, with no choice but to keep walking if we hope to survive. It was the only two of us back then, just like it's the two of us now.
もしかしたら初めてかもしれませんね。
そうだったか？
When I first met Yuzuka at Kashi Base, that was years ago, and we've never taken a stroll together before.
よくよく考えてみると、そうかもな。
Sure, we had fun times together, went out drinking a couple times too, but I don't think it's just been the two of us until now.
カシー基地で同じ部隊に配属されてからずっと戦場でしたしね。こうして
そうい
Oh,
やそうだ
sorry, I
な。
clicked early.
欧州派遣前の休暇は家族と会うのに使っちまったしな。
Yeah.
皮肉ですね。世界がこんなになってようやく戦場ではない場所を歩けるなんて。
That sucks.
生きるんです。注意。生きて歩き続けるんです。
Keep walking. If it wasn't for her,
さあ行きましょう。
ああ。裏の丘っていうか、こりゃちょっとした林だな。
近くにこんな場所があったなんて驚きですね。
まったくだ。
It's pretty amazing if you think about it for a second. All the trees around us, they survived the Great Ocean collapse, an honest-to-God extinction event. As long as there's no beta around, the forest and other vegetation should be safe. That's the way things used to be, at least. God only knows how long this place is gonna last. Every time the sea breeze blows, the wind carries the salt from the salt flats inland to the soil near Seattle. This forest has a rocky road ahead.
あそこがてっぺんみたいですね。
ああ、そうみたいだな。
早く行ってみませんか？
Sounds fun.
おい、危ねえぞ。
She calls me a kid.
待てよ、ゆずか。急ぎすぎる。
Oh, look at that. In a barren world where it feels like there's no way we can survive, we have this. We have this. Possibly one of the last bastions of humanity, really.
これは。ああ。
Pretty doesn't begin to describe it. I'm at a loss for words here. I seriously don't know what to say.
あれがシアトルの街。
It's alive.
街が
Skyscrapers that pierce the heavens, the glittering lights of the city below us brimming with life. Countless headlights beat brighten the roads, and even the suburbs seem to give off a distant warmth. Yuzuka got it right. The city is alive. Humanity isn't on its deathbed yet. Though Seattle is the proof that its heart is still beating strong. I don't agree with that, but I agree with the sentiment. That's what we're fighting to protect, our new home.
最後に残った幸運の都市。私たちは生きている。だからこそこの眺めを見ることができた。
We're still alive. It's not over yet. Maybe in the large picture, but we gotta take it day by day. You got nothing left. You still fight. And the most important step a man can take is the next one. Not the first one, not the biggest. The next.
生きているんだな。俺たちは。
生き延びたんですね。私たち。
でも、生き延びればいいってものじゃない。俺は嫌だ。ここにお客さんでいることが、今は、たまらなく答えるんだ。
Yeah.
注意。
Excuse me. Can you imagine standing there, looking at literally probably the last real haven of humanity left on an entire planet that used to be perfect for us? I was ignorant of the increasing security concerns in the Japanese district, the stern demands of security duty, or how we're forcing poorly trained child soldiers to fight our battles. Heck, I wasn't aware of the fate of my former comrades suffered protecting this place. All that is in the past. Now as a vibrant metropolis, this triumph of human spirit spreads before my eyes. I can't pretend this ain't my fight anymore.
欧州に行ってる間に俺たちは帰るべき場所を失った。
These two. I'm cheering for her. She's great.
あの瞬間、間違いなく俺たちは全てを、過去も未来も、そして俺たちはこの地球を蝕むベータってクソ野郎どもを殲滅するために戦っていたさ。でもそれは全て日本という故郷のためだった。生まれ育った国を蹂躙されたから、多くの命が失われたからだった。明日にも生き残った人たちが同じ目に遭うかもしれない。絶対にそんなことはさせない。その日本にもあったんだ、こういう街の光が。それを俺たちは守りたかったんだ。その思いがひいては世界を守る、地球を守るという大義につながっていた。違うか。
その通りだと思います。私たちの大切なものは地球である以前に、日本という故郷と家族や友人でした。
I think this is what a lot of astronauts experience. Like, they work so hard to get themselves to that position where they can, like, leave the Earth. But then they go up there and they look down at the planet as a whole. And I can't imagine being able to have that sight and not feel like it's part of you. That, even though there's so many crappy problems down here, that, like, we're all in it together. We really, by all rights, shouldn't be living just for ourselves or even our countries. We should be living for the world as a whole, for the generations that will come. Remembering, like, the sacrifices of our ancestors, taking the high road and making the tough decisions, and, you know, living to do things not just for ourselves but for the greater good. Not just like of like a philosophical greater good. I'm talking about like a tangible physical greater good. The idea of like leaving a world, or like it started with a campsite for me, being in the Scouts. We were always taught you leave the campsite better than you found it. You make it so that your presence doesn't leave a mark or a stain. If anything, you do something that makes it so that the next person who takes that camp can enjoy an experience even greater than yours by leaving some prepared firewood, or cleaning a part of the camp that stays around, like a grill, like giving it a good clean so that like the next person can use it without having to worry. And then you take it that bigger step, like at first it was Japan, then now it's starting to become the whole world. I think that's the thing we need to remember too, is like you take care of your family first. You make yourself and your family safe, and then you work about your community, looking to help those there. And then remember that like we are part of an entire people. We're all people. We're all the same, and that we leave behind a legacy, even if it's never going to be written in the stars or written in textbooks and lauded by men and women around the world. Like, we have something we leave behind, and it's our opportunity to make a big difference, even if it's never noticed, even if nobody ever learns our name, even if nobody even understands our contribution. Like the Valkyries, Asumi's sacrifice, and the sacrifice of all of them never would be known by people, and yet could we ever have seen them do it without having that perspective of like fighting for something and for a time and a purpose that was greater than their lifetime? Not at all. And that's what this message is really all about. trying to understand that, like, we aren't ever going to be perfect at that, but, like, recognizing that we need to see the bigger picture. She's right. A man doesn't care about keeping his country, friends, and family safe, would never feel a compulsion to protect the Earth. You start with those close to you, and your attachments grow and grow until one day you realize there will be no peace until the whole world is safe. Then you meet your comrades in arms, other people who think the same as you, and you bond with them over your hopes of the future. You trust them with your back and receive their loyalty in return. That's why we could spill our blood in a faraway place like Europe, thousands of miles from our home, because people dear to us were waiting for us back home, and we would spare no expense to save them. We faced an overwhelming enemy, even while at our lowest point. Dying is a real possibility, but if that's what it takes to keep people safe, it's a price that I would gladly pay.
だけど、それは突然失われてしまった。しかも、俺たちはその最後を見とることもできなかった。俺たちの大切なものは、もう心の中にしかなくなってしまった。でも、そうじゃなかったんだ。そう思っていたけど。違った。生き残った人たちが必死の思いでもう一度作り直したんだ。ここに。そして誰も彼も肩を寄せ合っていろんなことを切り捨てながらも埋め合って生きてる。はい。そんな場所に俺はいる。でも俺は何も知らない。自分の寝床以外この日本を何も知らないんだ。
I was taking the easy way out. I thought having Japanese blood through my veins was enough to call this place home, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
惰性で存在しているだけじゃ地に足はつかない。
There's a good quote. I can't simply sit back and wait for things to improve somehow. That's setting yourself up for failure.
ここを日本だと認めてここで日本人として生きようとしなければ。
注意。
ゆずか。
はい。
俺を生かしてくれたこと心から感謝してる。俺にはあの横断橋の間の記憶は途切れ途切れでよく思い出せない。追い詰められて死んでもいいと思っていたことだけはなんとなく思い出せる。死の大地を渡ってきただなんだと祭り上げられちゃいるが、それをやったのはゆずかお前だよ。
そんな。
お前が諦めた瞬間俺は終わっていた。まさに
Sorry, I keep clicking too early.
だけど俺はもやのかかった頭の中で生きることに疑問を持っていたんだ。どうしてお前は俺自身が捨てた命をこんなにまでして拾うんだろうかとそう思っていた。いや諦めていたのは俺だけじゃない。寺本だって浅木だって隊長ですらも。なのにお前だけはそのおかげでここに俺がいる。ゆずか、俺はもうこの命は捨てない。そして絶対に生き続けてやる。この日本でやらなきゃいけないことがある。それをやり遂げる。
はい。
それだけじゃない。その先にあるあの街の明かりを守る。取れる手は全て取る。
Sounds good.
はい。
何より俺にはその義務があるし。
注意。
お、
もう一度見てください。 あそこを守ろうという人があそこに背を向けてちゃいけませんよ。
She's right.
ああ、そうか。
それから笑ってください。
あ、
口をへの字にして重苦しく語れば未来が開けるわけじゃありません。なら笑顔でいませんか？
How can you not agree that Yuzuka is the best? I mean, listen to her.
あ
少なくともそうしているだけで優しくなれるし、人に幸せをあげられますよ。
Kindness is contagious.
そっか。それもそうだ。
注意。私はずっと注意についていきますから。ずっとそばにいますから。
Hear her. Hear what she's trying to say.
私はそのために注意とここに来たんです。
ゆずか。
生き延びることができて本当によかった。
本当によかった。
ああ、
生きる、守る。注意のその言葉を聞けて本当によかった。エレンやしずくちゃんや神宮寺少佐に会えて本当によかった。
あと松風もな。かわいそうだから仲間に入れてやれ。
We can forget about him.
はい、そうしましょう。夏風注意もご無事で、この日本でこの小さな日本を守るために精一杯戦いましょう。取れる手を。
Dang it. Keep clicking too early.
その
Curse
ための
my
大竹正
hand.
体なんだ。俺はそう信じてる。
It's always at the worst times, too. I'm just getting caught up in the moment.
私もです。
なんだかやる気が出てきたな。
私も元気が出ました。楠本軍曹に感謝しなくちゃ。
よし、このまま一気に残った仕事を片付けるか。そろそろ戻ろうぜ、ゆずか。
はい。注意。一人でなんて絶対に背負わせません。私も最後まで一緒です。
Sounds good. October 10th, 2005. War Dog begins.
以上だ、解散。
And that's where we're going to end for today. Well, that was intense. Yeah. Beautiful, though. Beautiful. Man. I'm going to go and curl up in a ball of cry for a little bit after that one. And that's not even... We haven't even gotten to the worst of it all yet, but just... Man. What a world. What a world. I hope they can make it through. I hope they figure this out. But yeah, I'm really grateful to be able to read this. And thank you for letting me have the opportunity to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed this much of the journey. I don't know if I have really much words. I think I said everything in that episode that I really needed to say. I'm just mostly emotionally wrung out like a sponge. It's good. It's a good feeling. I'm glad I am, but... Man... Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope a great start to your week. And thank you so much for your just being around the channel. I'm grateful to share this all with you. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I can't wait for your comments. It means a lot to me to be able to hear what you think. So I'd like to have your thoughts on this one especially. I like them all of them, though, so I say that all the time. Thank you to my patrons. You guys are amazing for believing in me and the channel and in the way you do. It gives me the opportunity, the hope, and like drive, determination to make great content and to try and keep making great content. Then I hope I can continue to improve and do things that make it so that you keep wanting to see more. So thank you for showing me through your thoughts, your actions, and your determination, and just being there for me in such a powerful way. I'm grateful for that every step. Thank you so much a million times. I can't say it enough. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for it all. And thank you to anyone who's here, regardless of whether or not you're a patron. Like, I'm saying thank you to you too. It means the world to me. And like, this channel couldn't be successful without you. So thank you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And until next video, watch me up. See me next. I'll see you there.